This is the Comedy Kiosk, podcast by Monday and Munoz. Please welcome Monday and Munoz.
Welcome to the Comedy Kiosk, a podcast in which we discuss news, opinions, and ideas about comedy. I'm David Munoz.
And I'm Igor Monday.
And today we're going to discuss comedy on social media. So, Igor, you kind of flashed up this idea at the last moment. What brought this upon you?
Well, first of all, let me say that I think it's a very fitting topic because we are recording this literally online. So don't mind the quality just because David is using a computer with Windows 95 still installed on it. Windows Millennium. I don't know, what was the worst one? Windows NT. And I think
that was one of the good ones, actually. That was one of the good ones.
Okay, then Millennium, I think, was horrible, and Vista
XP.
Was horrible. XP was great. I had XP for like 15 years, Yeah, and that's why the quality of the sound is a bit different, because I actually own equipment that's been manufactured during this century. But, and
so do I, but it's at Igor's place, so totally pointless.
Yeah, totally pointless because usually we record at my place as well, but now we are online because we are busy people with busy lives. Don't judge us, okay? If you want to help us and support us so we can drop our day jobs, you can always donate to Patreon, or you can like and follow us so we get a huge user base and we can ditch our boring-ass day jobs and commit 100% to podcasts. Still online, but maybe with better equipment. Comedy. And stand-up comedy. Yeah. And maybe David can buy a new computer then, or at least a microphone. So because we are doing this online, we started thinking about basically comedy online. So what does it mean to be funny online, maybe using some social media accounts like Twitter, where it's easy to write a one-liner, a fast joke, engaging your audiences with maybe Facebook, Instagram, some new types of social media. Let's start with TikTok.
Snapchat.
Yeah, exactly. I just wanted to start with that one because it's something that I talked about recently with one of the comedians. So I think something like a year ago, and I know many comics tried doing TikTok during lockdown, like a year ago, 2 years ago, and so on. Many comedians got on TikTok, but not many lasted. But I know that one of our comics here in Moscow, and he's like the godfather of English comedy in Moscow, one of the pioneers and first like organizer and performer. We just met a few days ago and talked about it, and he said like, oh man, like sometimes it's really hard for me to like motivate myself to do like real life shows because I tell a joke and I get like half of the room kind of clapping or giggling, but then I post the same joke on TikTok and everyone loves it. It gets like thousands of views and likes and stuff. So, it seems like it's much easier to be like an online persona and get that same, let's say, recognition and affection and the response from the online community than it is in real life. And of course, the reach is just exponentially bigger.
Yeah, and if you can monetize it, that means you can actually start making money off it, which in a way, if he's getting any financial reward out of it, which I'm not sure how they do it, but they do, then he could be. I mean, I got TikTok kind of for that same reason, but then I never used it for that reason. Like I just didn't know. I have one video that I could post that I think is a funny video, but it's just, I don't know. Like I got on it. I started watching it during the lockdown, like a lot of people. It was very entertaining, but then I got bored of it, I guess. I mean, I just got very repetitive. And then I thought sort of like, oh my God, to keep relevant, you got to keep posting constantly. I mean, these kids were posting every single day, sometimes even twice a day, videos. And you're just like, my God, is that your whole life? You need a lot of spare time.
Well, that's the difference between us and people who are actually on TikTok, which is mostly, let's say, teens and very young adults, I would say up to 25, which means they have two things that neither of us can afford, each time and energy. So again, we barely find time to record this lately with our like jobs and other stuff going on. So and we love doing this and we're committed to doing this, right? But TikTok is kind of, the thing is, I think you also, for any kind of social network or online content, you have to self-manage yourself very well, because there is no like deadline or something. You can say, okay, I can post a video today or in 10 days. No one's going to tell me what to do. But only if you post today and tomorrow and every day and twice a day and follow and engage and stuff, you can really get some response, I think. And this is sadly where I really lack the motivation and focus to kind of commit to such things. But again, this is maybe due to other stuff that we have going on in life. So once more, if someone can donate like $10,000 to each of us monthly or whatever, so that we're settled financially, then we can move on to content creation. But I still don't think I have the discipline for that, to be honest.
Well, I think you're right. I think it requires a lot of self-discipline. I mean, it's strange because we talked about before about, getting out there, performing, like, signing up for gigs, creating your own scene. And yet we're both like shit at social media as such, like, especially like things like TikTok. But the other thing is I found really interesting. It's the age thing that you brought up as well. As someone who's 42, I'm about to turn 43, literally in less than a month, just a couple of weeks. I'm too old. Like, I just feel creepy. Even when sometimes I'm just watching videos and I'm just like, oh, that's hilarious. I'm like, oh my God, I just watched the 14-year-old, girl or whatever. I'm like, yeah, I don't know if I should be watching it. And posting to get their likes, I just feel like I'm the try-hard uncle. Like, look at me, I'm funny, kids.
I'm sorry, which platform was it where you were watching TikTok. A 14-year-old girl online? Was it TikTok?
No, but that's exactly it. It's because they're the ones doing these funny little, like, they're doing the voiceovers to the comedians like John Mulaney. That's how I discovered John Mulaney, because he's very popular amongst this teen crowd who kind of imitate and voice over his bits. Like, they lip sync his bits and they act it out. And it's really hilarious. And some people in their 20s and whatever. And it's well done. But, at the end of the day, I'm like, oh my God, if I'm getting on there, I'm in a way competing, I suppose, against little kids and stuff like that. It just looks like the creepy old guy.
Yeah, I mean, this is, I agree with this, and all these kind of streaming platforms as well. Again, when it was during lockdown and stuff, I know that many people performed on Twitch, Discord, whatever these kind of platforms and apps are for such things. You see, I don't even know them. But I just feel like, it's not, I don't know. I feel like I'm not part of that generation, and it just doesn't suit. It also doesn't even suit my style and kind of what I want to be joking about and talking about, I think, because a lot of it is just, you have to have a certain mindset to create a funny video that's 20 seconds long. And, it's quite hard for me to have that. I think the younger generation, because they live in a world where literally kind of new content, new distractions appear every 20 seconds, they're more used to kind of, okay, we start, haha, punchline, it's over, rather than some kind of, longer formats and so on. But I mean, it's not the only thing that's, TikTok and such kind of things that's available. And sadly, I have to admit that I fail at others as well, where it fits a bit more what I'm used to and how I actually come up with my jokes and write my jokes, like Twitter, for example. I have many kind of one-liners and many kind of one-sentence ideas that I consider funny, which will be perfect for Twitter, I think, because that's the whole point. But I don't have a Twitter account. I never had it, and I just couldn't force myself to, twice a day to write like 2 sentences about something that's happening. It just seems so, like I'm a narrator to my own life. I don't know. It's weird.
Twitter is also another one that I signed up for this purpose as well, because I thought actually this would help me. Because my initial thought was, with Twitter, I can practice writing shorter jokes because I have a limited character set. What I found is what I mainly do is I just respond to someone else's thing and make a quip. I'm better at doing the quip sort of stuff, but to actually write something original straight off the bat that's funny, no, I still suck at that sort of thing. So Twitter is very, like, it's limited with the amount of space that you have, and it's more about the back and forth for me sort of thing. What I use it mostly for is actually just to follow real, like, popular comedians who do one-liners and things like that, like Gary Delaney and interesting comedians. You follow them, and they then, you watch how they do it and you go, oh, that's cool. But I still haven't gotten around to like making a funny quip or even using anything that I use in stand-up. Because a lot of times, I don't know, maybe it's the people that I follow or whatever, they're making comments about, for example, America and its politics, which to a degree I can make a little bit of a joke of. But at the same time, I'm like, well, that's not really my scene. Like, if I make a joke, it's going to be something more along Russia, I guess, or, you know, my background or my life as a teacher. And maybe the teacher stuff would work a little bit, but still, it's not coming across. I don't know, I don't think it just comes across. And I find it's really strange with Twitter because it's just a lot of people, some of the jokes are just really crap, but people are still, especially like, people are still trying to like pat each other on the back. And you're just like, what? No, it's just shit, you know?
I don't know because I've never followed any Twitter accounts of any famous or amateur comics or anything, but I do feel like it's a good platform for comedians to get some like fast little jokes out, or it doesn't matter if they're like an original post or if it's a comment on someone else's thing, like a reply or quip, as you said, to like a already provided prompt by someone else. But sadly, yeah, as perfect as it sounds, some kind of platform for a comic to write a quick joke, I've never used it, and I don't know why. I've done the same thing on Facebook like several times. I have, I don't know, not many, but maybe, I don't know, 10, 15 posts with like one-liners, but Facebook became so useless for anything nowadays because I don't know what kind of stuff you could even, because if you do want to write some text, that you would probably do it on Twitter. If you want to post a photo or something or announcement or ask anyone a question or something, you would do it on Instagram. Facebook became a bit useless, so I stopped doing it even there, and now I just don't do it anywhere. I remember, and you know, like sometimes these kind of random tweets, random like short ideas come to me as well. I remember like a few years ago, it was, I think during actually the last tour we were on, February 2020, just before the virus expanded and the pandemic started. And it was Valentine's Day. It was middle of February. I don't remember like which country we were in or something. I think we were in a train between like Sweden and Denmark or something like this. And I remember that I was thinking or reading some news about like Valentine's Day and how many people are like kind of, oh, horrible day for singles are buying presents for themselves now, something like this. And I wrote this post on Facebook like, don't be sad if you're single on Valentine's Day. It's not like you're not a loser on Victory Day. So this kind of like random thoughts, you know, sometimes pop in my head like, oh, this would be a funny tweet, you know, nothing more. It's not really a joke for the stage because you can do it like, you know, one day a year, basically. And then it, you know, it's not material that you can really like earn money on or keep doing. But if it's a tweet, then what happens is someone will screenshot it, turn it into a meme, and every day for Valentine's Day it can be posted across like multiple platforms like Instagram, Reddit, or whatever, like where people share like memes and stuff. But yeah, I just never started doing it. I think I have this general problem of actually keeping my social media alive. I have a dedicated page on Facebook, like Igor Monday comedian page. So it's not my personal page where my friends from like school and stuff, my nephews and cousins are, but it's just a page like for fan page, let's call it like that. And I'll have, and I think you have the one as well, right?
I accidentally made it. I can't remember what I was trying to do, but I accidentally made myself two. One with my real name and one with Mr. Aramis Bungle. And I was like, oh, shit. And I accidentally made, and now I have the option to delete them, but I keep telling myself, no, I'm going to use them eventually. I'm going to set them up. But right now, I don't even have a profile picture. I have nothing, absolutely nothing on either of them. They're just dead weight right now. They're just sitting there. Like the comedy kiosk one, this one is the one that I actually use. This is the one that I post to, whatever. Those two are just sitting there, and it's the one day I will actually use them. But occasionally, once in a blue moon, it will be like, you've had 2 visitors. I'm like, well, the poor bastards have seen nothing. They've just shown up to blankness and gone, who the fuck is this guy?
Yeah, I don't know how it happens. I mean, like, I have Instagram, and when there are some show announcements and stuff, usually it's posted there, and I'm tagged there and stuff. We even stopped, like, promoting and posting shows on Facebook for our regular shows here in Moscow because it just doesn't work anymore. The algorithm has changed so much that it doesn't show anything to people unless you spend a lot of money on it, etc. So I don't know how people even find this, but yeah, I still do get like, I don't know, once a week, you have 6 new likes on Igor Monday page on Facebook. I'm like, why? Who? You know, like it's dead. I mean, I remember exactly the day I created that page. It was before, it was summer and I was bored. I was on vacation. I was back home and I was sitting in a bar with my laptop. I was preparing some like design because we had some shows around Croatia, me and one Russian comedian who used to perform. So we had like a few shows booked, and I was doing some like poster or something for that show. And I was like, it would be nice if I had a place to announce all my shows and the stuff I'm doing. So I created a page for myself. I invited like all my friends and everyone I knew, and I got something like 110 likes in one day. And now the page has something like 120 likes. So it's like 110 of my friends, and in the last 5 years, 10 new people that liked this page. And it's really, I mean, I get why no one would
Half
ever
of
like...
them are bots.
Yeah, probably. It's, like some catfishing people pretending to be hot girls sending you messages like, if you want to see more, click on this and I'll steal all your money. This kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But
I gotta say, it's just shit.
I just don't do it. I don't know. Like my idea was, okay, every week I will post a schedule of where I'm performing, at what time, where you can get tickets, and like kind of grow this community. Post some funny videos, maybe some funny like jokes, one-liners, whatever. Reports when I'm on tour, when I'm traveling, I just can't be fucked to do this. I don't know. Like it's just.
All right. So the place where I've ended up like, okay, so for me, Facebook, not those pages, but for me, like I remember, like, how you get those reminders of what you posted 10 years ago, 11 years ago. And I found some of them have popped up again. And I'm like, damn, that's actually some funny shit. Because at that time I wasn't doing stand-up. It was my only outlet where I could be a smartass and make quips. And actually I find that my comments from then were kind of better in a way, obviously because I maybe took more time. I actually cared about what I posted. I wanted to make my friends laugh because I knew they would see it. So I was making clips or things about what happened in my day. I'm like, oh my God, I used to actually tell people what happened in my day as long as I could put a funny slant on it, right? So I used to do that, but then that sort of stopped because in a way Facebook stopped doing that. Very rarely do I post something. Usually it's in response to what someone else has written, as a friend. Then Instagram. And now Instagram is like the thing that, it's that sort of, it's the one that blew up and more people use it more than anything else, really. It's the main one these days. But you have to do videos, and I hate that. I hate all the pictures and your posters below. And sometimes I'm like, okay, I got something funny to say, but I've got no picture to go with. Or I've got a video, but it's usually that's where I post our promo stuff, when we're about to have a show. And I sometimes play a character or something like that. Now, it's great, though, because it's what's also gotten me to kind of acting gigs in a way. One for like one of those, what's it called, prank shows that I was on. And the other one was the pilot for a TV show. The guys literally saw me playing the Austrian doctor character for one of Steal the Show's like Kings of Comedy competitions. And the thing is, they saw that and they were like, it's brilliant. So it's worked. It has worked. But I think I have probably less than 20 posts. I've had this thing for a few years now and I have less than 20 posts because I'm using that page and I use my name, Mr. Aramis Bungle. I don't use my real name because it's my comedy page. And I'm like, I will only post things that are comedic, but I have to make a frickin' video out of it. And I'm just like, I can't be asked, I've got less than 20 freaking posts, but they're good. So I'm glad with the quality of most of them, but it's very few and far between. And the whole point with these things is, as you've mentioned, they're not effective unless you're posting on a regular basis, minimum once a week. But technically, you should be almost posting something every single day. And that's how you notice it. I've noticed it, like people, the stories in particular, like if you watch someone's story, if they post something the next day, it shows up towards the front. Because you watched it yesterday, they say, you'll probably watch it again today. And then you do. And then all of a sudden, if you're only watching it once a day, the stories, you realize you start watching, wait, I'm watching the same 5 people.
Yeah, I mean, that's the whole thing. It's the algorithm is set now in such way that it's not even about quality or even content. As long as you post something, it shows you as kind of active on the platform and pushes you forward and people see you more and you get more exposure and stuff. But the problem is again, as you said, I'm not sure what to post on daily basis or even twice a day and stuff. And I just can't be fucked to do it. That's the biggest problem, I think, because I know like we could benefit so much. Instagram now has these reels and we posted on Still the Show comedy account, like 4 or 5 of them, like 1 minute clips of different comics. Some of them, like Kirill, one of our comedians, got over 10,000 views on his video on a joke that he's been doing so far in like 60 to 100 people rooms. So that's 10 times bigger exposure. And that, like, once you pick up such viewership, you can also go up to, like, I don't know, 500,000, because again, the more people engage with it and see it and like it, the more other people get it recommended in their feed and stuff like this. But the problem is, you need, I think, for me personally, the problem is I just don't have that habit of, I'm my own social media manager or some kind of content manager. I love to perform, but I love to do, live stuff. So I like to sit down, to edit some video, photo, to write some text, to write a personal story about how, I don't know, a show 4 years ago changed my life or something, and then people get engaged and share that. I believe I have some great stories, but I like to tell them this way, when it's like a conversation between you and me, and we talk, and also accidentally record it, not accidentally, it's all on purpose, but I mean, there's a microphone involved as well, so we can publish it for more people to listen. But to just create some content alone behind the camera or something by myself, I just don't have that impulse, that spark to push me. But I think it's a great platform for those who can and those who have it, because it really opens up new doors for sharing that same joke, that same idea, that same message. I just have to go back for a second to this thing you said about Facebook reminding you of your posts 10 years ago, because literally yesterday I got a notification from Facebook that said you have some memories to look back on, or whatever. It's like the notification you get. And then it was maybe 2 years ago, something from this tour, like a photo of 3 of us from Berlin or something. Then maybe like 5 years ago, some show in Moscow, I think, some showcase or something. Then maybe like 7 years ago, it was first time I went to a concert in Moscow or whatever. And then approximately 9-10 years ago, early days on Facebook, when people just wrote anything that came to their mind, because people thought that's what Facebook is supposed to be. My God, maximum cringe. Like maximum cringe. I literally deleted 5 posts in a row because they were like in the same day, right? There were 5 posts in the same day, and 3 of them were some song quotes, and 2 of them were something like, if sometimes we build walls not to see who will stay out, but to see who will be brave enough to tear them down. Like those kind of shit posts.
My God, you're like a emo teen girl.
Yes, I mean, that was 2009. That's how people wrote, the stuff people wrote on Facebook, like.
And some people still do.
And some people still do.
That's the scary part.
Yeah, that's the sad part.
I'm still cringing. I'm like, oh God, please stop doing that. Grow up.
At least I've changed, but I have to somehow sometimes go back and delete some of the memories of past cringe, because it haunts me like that.
You delete them?
Of course I delete. Well, I mean, if I come across something cringy, I delete them, because one day I'll become famous and successful and have my show special on Netflix or whatever. I don't want people to go back to my old posts and be like, oh, look, he was a shitty little emo. Wow. Or even worse, if I have something ignorant or inconsiderate or something, I don't know, maybe somewhere I wrote, yes, well, I do think that, I don't know, Australians shouldn't do comedy, and someone's going to call me out on that. I don't want that in my,
Yeah, and then they'll fire you from doing Guardians of the Galaxy 4 or 5. And
something like that.
And then you'll have to go and do a movie for DC, but actually it turns out it's a good hit, and then you do like this spin-off series thing, and hey, you don't know, man. And then you end up engaged with the hot actress from that spin-off series and stuff, and who knows, these things
actually happen. You've sold it. I'll keep all the posts. Maybe something good can come out of it.
You never know. But but the thing is, it's actually interesting now, because recently I did read an article, and it was about these musicians, like young musicians and things like that, and the difference in on them trying to get record deals and all that sort of stuff. And some older musicians, it was this article, I can't remember where the hell it was. Anyway, but one of the big takeaways was they were saying it's really hard to get signed up to record labels these days, because a lot of them, they're like, well, what media presence do you have? How many followers do you have? It's actually becoming a thing where record companies are even expecting you to already come with your own fan base, and they want to see the numbers. They want to have the numbers to crunch. Like, they're like, if you come with no numbers, forget it. We're not going to sign you. It's like, but we write great music. Don't care. We need you to already have your own, like, core group. From there, we will build you up. We will create this. We will expand on your media presence. But without that media presence, to start with, forget it. And these musicians were basically, and what was it? I think it was Rita Ora or something like that. She had like quit social media I think she's the one who sort of started like complaining about it, like mentioning it. And I don't want to make it sound like she's a complainer or anything. She has a very valid point. And some other musicians that had like quit social media and Charlie XCX, it was her who was also talking about it. It was like the two of them. And like these young women, and because she had left social media because she was getting backlash from it. For something like, we don't like the way you're presenting yourself with a new album. We don't like the angle you're going for. She's like, well, this is what I want to do, and all that sort of jazz. So they were talking about that, and I'm just wondering about the comedy thing as well. Is it going to eventually get to the point where, and I guess it sort of does, is we use that to sell ourselves. So, when you want to get a gig, for example, if I want to go perform in Berlin, and I'm like, I'm good. These days, they like, well, show us a video. And you can show them with like a YouTube video that you already have posted up. So you need to have a YouTube channel. So you put that, you have it recorded there just so you can show people and go, this is it. But I'm wondering, are they also looking at the amount of views and the amount of likes that it has and things like that to kind of gauge whether you're good enough? And then if you could also say, well, look, I've got this TikTok account and I've got this Instagram account. Every time I post something, I get 1,500 likes. I get this many love hearts or whatever. This could be what makes them decide whether yes to sign you on or not. And maybe even what spot to give you, whether opening or a 10-minute spot or even like a co-headliner or something like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, definitely if you do ask for a spot on the top Berlin showcase, for example, Saturday night at 9 in the biggest club, they will ask you for a video or whatever, for even some maybe someone to vouch for you or something like this. So you're not just, some kind of open, I'm an open micer, I think I have good 10 and I'm passing through Berlin, so can I take a spot at your best-selling show, please? So they will ask for a video, but that video can, I think, even be in private or whatever, unlisted. So I don't think the amount of views is important. It's the quality of your performance, and it's some kind of experience that, credits, let's say, that guarantee that you will deliver during those 10 minutes. But definitely if you are trying to get, I think, on TV or something like this, to get like signed by an agent, by an agency, by whatever label, production company, then I think this is also valid, because I see now the newer comics that are coming up through different channels that they are basically one of two things. Either they have already this like big kind of presence and community behind them, exposure. So they bring, for example, what's interesting, why would, I don't know, Channel 4 be interested in putting some new comedian on some panel show or something? Because they'll bring in new viewership. They have already their community on YouTube, on Twitch, or on somewhere where like huge amounts of people, and maybe some target audience that the TV doesn't reach nowadays. Like younger people don't watch TV, but they watch YouTube, but they'll turn on TV to watch a show with their YouTube, I don't know, favorite influencer or whatever. That's one thing. But sometimes I see that they also find some kind of completely unknown people, and that's also an advantage because they have like a clean slate, like they have something they can then work and build this person as they want, let's say, because they don't have to, they don't have some kind of baggage in the eyes of the community or some kind of fan base or something to deliver. But yeah, I see more and more people on, for example, TV, both like I follow mostly British TV, but even on American TV, on those kind of, quiz shows, panel shows, this and that exist, talk shows, late night, sitcoms a lot as well. People who came through those, let's say, social media channels. And if you remember, we talked about several times about Crashing, a TV series about a life of an aspiring stand-up comic. And at one point he meets a very young student who is doing like the student circuit. and he's like super funny and great, but he's not known in kind of the professional circuit, but he's well known in the university circuit. And this guy is an actual real life comedian, and he has a huge huge community behind him. And it's mostly through such channels as like social media, Instagram, maybe TikTok or whatever, Twitter probably, etc. So it is a way to engage those younger audiences and to get them to, watch TV, which younger people don't do anymore, or buy tickets and stuff like this.
Right. So do you think in the future, do you think it's going to become more and more a thing? Like people are not going to be able to break in unless they have that social media presence. Because I think that in time, like the old way of doing it where you just hit the road and you just do it and do it and do it. And eventually you just honed your craft. You got your specials. Someone from HBO, like we're talking about the old days, like in the 90s, from HBO might see you. So usually it's something like Just for Laughs Comedy Festival. They'd see you there. Then they offer you a HBO special or they offer you a TV series and then you make it to there. And then you're this unknown who comes out of nowhere, but all of a sudden you're huge, like Seinfeld or Ellen DeGeneres or all these sort of people that came out in that era. These days, though, I think it's slowly drifting away from that model. That model still exists, but I think it's becoming less and less. And now it's flipping over to the social media. How many followers do you have? How regularly do you post? Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, things like that. And based on that, not the Montreal Just for Laughs, not from your touring and someone coming to see you, but rather from that, they're going to find you. What do you reckon?
Well, I think the logic here is obvious why some producers or agents and so on would go down this route because, if you're planning on, let's say you're planning on building a house, so you want to design your rooms and floors and stuff, but you can buy just a piece of land, or you can buy a piece of land with foundation already there. So you don't have to spend money and resources on just building the foundation of the house. You can focus on building the rooms and the floors and stuff. So why not go down that route if they can find already a person that has, 200,000 followers, fan base on, Instagram or something? That means that they will probably convert a number of those followers into people who will buy tickets once they sell them on tour or once they put them on TV and stuff like this. On the other hand, I think it's going to be some kind of hybrid model because I don't think that they will also stop looking on like festivals or the university circuit or stuff like this, because definitely not all people will be online and not all people should be online. I know definitely some comics, like some famous comedians that are, constantly getting awards on British Comedy Awards or something like this, etc., who do headliner shows at Edinburgh Fringe and so on, who basically have a, Twitter account with one post from 7 years ago that says, "Hello, I'm on Twitter." Because they just don't care about this part, but they're good enough, to create a fan base outside of social media.
But also my question: those people, are they generally? What generation are they from? Because I think the younger comedians, almost all of them are coming with a stronger, but maybe because of the generation as well, because people born in the 90s and upward, especially post 2000s, they've all grown up with social media. Like they grew up with it. So they've had a social media account since they were teenagers. It's just a regular part of life to post and to put these and do selfies and all that crap. But I would like to know, like those comedians that you said, those that have no followers, are they young people? Are they people in their 20s? Are any of them people in their 20s?
No, they're not. They're older people, and they're people who've been around for 20, 30, 40 years performing and touring and stuff. But they definitely, what I'm trying to say is they don't make their own content online. So, for example, they don't have their own Twitter or Instagram or something. But that is not to say that there is no content where you can see them online, which means that younger people who are more, tech savvy, who are more native with all those apps and platforms and stuff, they still create, for example, there is no comedian on Instagram. He doesn't have a personal account or profile, but there is older comedian fan page that someone made and is running and is posting his photos, his clips, his performances, and it still gets the same exposure and community going. So I think at some point, because, it's the world of content we live in now, and everyone has the right to create and publish that content, I think even if you yourself don't have the maybe the motivation or interest or knowledge or whatever to do it, either if you become good enough and genuinely, have a fan base and a community and so on around you, someone's going to do it anyway. Someone will publish it, someone will share it, someone will talk about it. And then also at some point, of course, if you get, good enough to pay someone to do it for you, you can always hire like a social media manager or content manager to do it for you. That's also, I know like several people who have a separate person that runs their social media pages and accounts and actually posts stuff about them.
So in conclusion, what we are trying to say here, I would say, in conclusion, what we're trying to say is that you need to have a social media presence. You need to push it. You need to post at least minimum weekly, if not daily. But if you are too lazy like we are and you can't make it happen, then all you got to do is wait for the right fanboy or fangirl to do it for you. And if they don't show up, then bloody hell, at the end, you're just going to have to fork out some cash, because as things are evolving, this is where we're going. You need a social media presence. Maybe I need someone to find the little jokes and all the shit that I do and post it for me. and scribble them down, and they can post it while I, sit in my bed and record a podcast in my pajamas.
That's 100% accurate, and I agree with you. I just want to correct one simple thing. I don't think that we are lazy, because that would imply that it's our fault, and I don't want any blame on me. I would say that we are incompetent. Yeah. So it's just, it's not our fault. We just don't understand the technology. You don't have a working computer. What are we talking about?
Where's my microphone?
So that's why the sound is, that's why you don't even have a microphone. So that's why, and I think this is exactly the reason why if you go to our social media pages, which do exist, so we are on Facebook, on Twitter, on Instagram. I think Instagram is our most active one, because we post each episode there with a little cute cover provided by David's amazing wife. But we also publish it on Facebook as well, and on Twitter. And that's the only content we publish. We just publish, here's a new episode, listen to it. Nothing else. You will not see any backstage photos, any information about our private lives, any information about our stand-up careers, announcements of shows, nothing. So we are, we are already filtering content for you. We are doing all the heavy lifting on our end, so you don't have to. So I think you can respect that.
Incompetence.
Through sheer incompetence. And Absolutely. if you want to support us and help David buy a microphone, you can also donate to Patreon. That's set up as well, and you will find all the links for these things below our podcast. If you are listening actually on whatever platform you're listening, you can listen to us directly on Podbean, which is our hosting platform, and on all the other music and podcast streaming apps like Apple, Amazon, Google,
Spotify. We're with Joe
Spotify.
Rogan. Oh my God.
Pandora is huge. Yeah. Pandora.
Really?
Pandora. Shout out to all the people who listen to us on Pandora. If you are trying to be better at social media managing than we are, then create your social media pages and hit us up with a comment, follow, share, or an idea for another episode's topic. Thank you for listening. I've been Igor Monday.
And I've been David Munoz. Ciao.
Till next time. Goodbye.